Mama, when will Papa return home? I want to play with him, asked your 7-year-old son, John Jinsu. You smiled, observing his adorable pout and doe eyes which he inherited from his father. Jinsu, I already told you, Papa has gone to meet his friends. He hasn't met them for a long time now. He might return late. You explained the whole thing again and sighed when Jinsu's expression saddened. Come here. You pulled him to stand in front of you and glided your fingers through his hair. Don't be sad. You can play with him tomorrow, okay? Now be a good boy and smile. He grinned, flaunting his bunny teeth. You chuckled and ruffled his hair. It's quite late, let's go to bed. You observed his lips puckering into a pout again at the mention of going to bed. Mama, let me watch cartoons for some more time. I'm not even sleepy. He whined in an attempt to melt your tough demeanor, but you didn't waver from your command. You shook your head in negation. Sleep is important, Jishu. We should take good amount of rest to keep our body healthy because in a healthy body resides a healthy mind. Yes. You smiled and patted his head affectionately. As you rose from the couch, he swiftly climbed on it to get on your back. Jinsu, you're going to break my spine someday, you muttered, bouncing him to settle well on your back while his giggles filled the area. Awakening from your slumber, you looked around in a daze and realized you had fallen asleep beside Jinsu while making him sleep. Your gaze lingered on the wall clock which struck 2 in the morning. Jungkook, you whispered to yourself, realizing that he wasn't home till now. Untangling yourself from Jinso, who clung to you like a baby monkey to his mother, you got off the bed. You tucked the blanket properly on Jinso and bent down to leave a pack on his head. With slow and hard steps, you ambled towards the door, careful not to wake your beloved son. You dialed Jungkook's number, your concern intensifying with each passing second. I'm not gonna let him enter the house tonight, you grated out, tossing the phone on the couch. Not long after, the doorbell rang, and you wasted no time in rushing to open the door. Your anger disappeared as concern overpowered your senses. As you opened the door, your pupils enlarged by the scene unfolding before your eyes. On the doorstep stood Taeyong holding a drunk Jungkook. His body was lulled on Taeyong, giving him a hard time to balance his weight. As your eyes shifted from the wasted Jungkook to Taeyong, he smiled awkwardly. Oh, hi. You forced out a smile, shifting your gaze between Taeyong and Jungkook. Actually, we met after a long time, so we were just sharing things about each other's lives, and the topic suddenly shifted towards our families. We went on and on, praising our wives and consuming alcohol alongside. That's why he trailed off, tightening his hold on Jungkook, who swayed from side to side. Really? How come you are not drunk? I have a low tolerance for alcohol, so I had juice. You nodded, sighing inwardly. Should I take him inside? He asked, and you mentally face palmed, realizing you had been standing at the door. You nodded and helped him, holding the drunk Jungkook inside. You and Taeyong hold him to the bed and panted heavily. Cut down his right one, he's becoming a giant day by day. Chuckled when he wiped his face as though he had done a lot of work. Okay, Ryan, I'll take my leave. It's quite late. My wife must be waiting for the broom. These drunkards got me in trouble. He gave you a side hug and left. You followed him till the door and came back after locking the front door. Once you returned, you scrunched your nose as a strong smell of alcohol hit your nostrils. You hadn't noticed it till now. Your gaze shifted to Jungkook, who was asleep, clutching a pillow close to his chest. You shook your head in disappointment and proceeded to remove his shoes. In that fleeting moment, where you held his shoe in your hand and your eyes agaze upon him, a sheer desire to throw their shoes on his face arose within. However, you dropped the idea as you dropped his shoes on the floor. You threw the blanket on his body, though you wanted to leave him as such. You're gonna regret it, Jungkook. With a newfound determination to give him an earful in the morning, you retired to Jinsu's room to have a peaceful sleep. Ain't no way you are going to sleep next to him. A sigh escaped your lips when Jungkook snaked his arm around your waist and clung on your back. Good morning, sweetheart. The extra sweetness in his tone insinuated that he remembered what he had done. You sucked a good amount of air when he placed a wet, sensual kiss at the arch of your neck. He was trying to melt you by his sweet tactics, but you were not easy to be melted just by a few kisses. He removed his arms and continued preparing breakfast. Oh, someone is angry. He playfully sang, again winding his arms around your waist. You craned your neck to glare at him while he grinned at you. You wrenched out of his hold and walked towards the refrigerator to fetch some fruits. He followed you like a lost puppy. Someone is very angry. Is that you, baby? Is that why you are looking so hot early morning? You let out a frustrated sigh and narrowed your eyes at him. He raised his hands in surrender. Okay, I won't trouble you no more. I'm sorry. I'm genuinely sorry for last night. You scoffed and rolled your eyes. Don't say it when you don't mean it. You walked back to the kitchen counter while he stood rooted to his spot, processing your words. What? What did you say? He spoke after a brief moment of silence as he walked up to you and stood beside you. Exactly what you heard. His lips parted in shock. Say you don't mean it, baby. I did. I did mean every single word I said. As you proceeded to walk away from him, he held your arm and made you turn towards him. Vian, I'm sorry. I know I made a mistake and I am genuinely sorry for it. I mean it. Crossing your arms against your chest, you darted a stern look at him. We made a promise. Remember your words? When our son is growing up, we should change our certain habits so that it won't affect him. It was our mutual decision that you won't consume alcohol. Even if you do, you will take it in a certain amount. He nodded, acknowledging your words, and pulled you closer until your front touched his. I am sorry, he iterated, tucking some loose tresses behind your ear. You wiggled in his hold and freed yourself from his clutch. I don't need your sorry. Keep doing whatever you want. Who am I even to intervene in between? A look of disbelief marred his expression as you murmured profanities under your breath. Who even listens to me in this house? Whenever I say something, you consider as if I'm saying this because of my likeness. Nobody acknowledges my good intention. I have said it umpteen times that alcohol is a slow poison. It has no benefits. If you like it, have it in a small amount and make sure you keep it away from my son. But no, I'm crazy, right? Why am I even bothering to say anything to you? Jungkook stood beside her, hearing her rants with a peaceful expression. He never understood why his mother had the habit of rambling continuously after he disagreed on anything. Now that his wife did the same, he still didn't understand it. Baby, don't be upset with me. I'm apologizing. I said I'm sorry. You raised your eyebrows at him. Oh, you did me a big favor by apologizing. Thank you so much. You gave him a tight-lipped smile and turned back to continue your task, which was chopping some fruits. Jungkook let out an exasperated sigh and observed you cutting the fruits mercilessly, precisely murdering them. Come on, Ryan, it's not that big of a deal that you are making it. I acknowledge my fault and apologize. Let's just get over it. As those sinful words slipped past his tongue, slowly looked at him. He gulped when he saw two invisible horns growing on your head and smoke leaking out of your ears. Of course, it is my fault. I am a bad wife. I like to exaggerate things, right? That's what you want to say. I didn't. He was cut off when he scoffed and dumped all the chopped fruit in a bowl. I care about everyone in this house. I try my best to be a good wife and mother. What do I not do? I prepare delicious meals for you guys. I do all the chores of this house. Me too. I to help you. He intervened but regretted next moment when you glared at him. I'm sorry, continue. He took 2 steps back and reclined back on the counter. You started your rants again, which for sure weren't going to stop anytime soon. Meanwhile, Jungkook pulled out his phone and checked the calendar, and that's when realization hit him. It was a week before your menstrual cycle, and it was very normal for you to have severe mood swings at that time. Jungkook sighed, now understanding the reason behind your distress. Otherwise, you were rather a calm and generous type of person. As you picked up the dishes and stepped toward the dining table, Jungkook blocked your way. Let me help you. Oh no, your highness. Your hands will get tired. I'll manage it alone. Jungkook sighed when you walked past him, bumping into his shoulder purposely. Jungkook threw his head back, knowing it wouldn't be easy to coax you, especially when you were high on your hormones. Baby. The tension in the dining room was palpable. Jinsu could sense there was something off between his parents as his father kept glancing at his mother and the latter, well aware of his gaze, acted ignorant. Usually, the breakfast would be full of chaos, but there was utter silence which didn't settle well with the little boy. Papa, he whispered, poking his father's arm. Jungkook raised his eyebrows and leaned down to Jinsu's level as he motioned him to do so. What did you do to upset Mama this time? Jungkook frowned his eyebrows. How could his son accuse him that he did something? Yes, he did, but still, there could be any other reason too. What do you mean by I did something? How can you accuse me without any proof? You didn't. Jungkook pursed his lips and nodded slightly. Then you must have done something big that she is not even saying something. Jungkook sighed in helplessness. It's not big, but not small either. Something in middle. Did you say sorry? I did, but hey, are you my father or I am yours? He squinted his eyes at the little boy who grinned in response. Papa, you should learn something from me. I've never made Mama angry, he stated proudly. Jungkook raised his eyebrows. Oh really? Let's talk when you get a wife. I would see how much of a goody shoes you are. Jinsu giggled sheepishly at the mention of wife. My dear son, I too used to laugh like this when my father used to say what I said. You will understand what I mean when your wife is angry with you. Then you will realize I am speaking the truth. Jinsu, eat your breakfast silently. Both father and son straightened up hearing your voice. Jungkook peered at you only to find you glaring at him. Jinsu, we shouldn't talk while we eat. Learn some manners. You too, Mr. John, learn some manners. Jungkook was left dumbfounded while Jinshu giggled silently, eating his breakfast. Jungkook had no other choice except assuring himself that it was just a bad day. You sat in the living room as Jungkook took charge of washing the dishes. Weekends were supposed to be a family day where you, Jungkook, and Jinsu performed some fun activities and spent time together. But today wasn't any normal weekend. You were mad at Jungkook. You were getting irritated by every small and big thing. Jungkook emerged from the kitchen, handing a glass of juice to Jinsu, who was painting at a small distance. Then he settled beside you, forwarding a tumbler of cold coffee. Looked between the tumbler and him. Take it. You are angry on me. Don't release it on the poor coffee. You held the glass and took a sip. It was just like you wanted. Jungkook sipped on his coffee, his gaze fixated on you. By the time you finished the caffeine, your anger had subsided down. The clouds of madness vanished as you felt calmer and less irritated. Jungkook found it a good opportunity to fix things with you. But before he could talk to you, Jinsu ran up to him. Papa, see, I made this painting. Jungkook looked at it, and a smile made its way to his lips. He drew a house, and in front of it, he drew 4 humans. Though it was a messy doodling by a 7-year-old, but it was nothing more than a piece of art for Jungkook. Mama, see, this is you, this is Papa, this is me, and this is my little sister. I want a baby sister. Your smile disappeared. You could feel Jungkook's gaze upon yourself, but you didn't have the courage to meet his eyes. You tried your best to smile, but couldn't. Buddy, come here. Jungkook picked up Jinso and settled him on his lap. He rose from the couch and trudged towards the kitchen. Jungkook looked at you retreating back. He so wanted to follow you, but it was necessary to distract Jinso. Not like this. You emptied the cupboard, cleaned the already clean dishes, and put them back in their place. It was a habit you had acquired to deal with yourself. Whenever unnecessary thoughts clouded your mind, you started deep cleaning. Your hands halted in the middle when you felt yourself engulfed in the familiar embrace. Jungkook wrapped his arms around your waist, and the other slithered around your shoulder, your back against his firm chest. He kissed atop of your head. Are you okay? You couldn't control your tears anymore. They fell freely as you shook your head. You turned around in his hold and cried, burying your face in his chest. His hold around you was gentle, yet strong enough to hold you in your breakdown. I knew it. I knew this day would come. What would I say to Jinso Jungkook? That his mother can't give him a sister because she can't be a mother again. How would I make him understand? You cried out, letting yourself loose in his embrace because you knew he would find you again. Calm down, Van. Sometimes things don't turn out how we wanted them to. Sometimes life throws unbearable things at us. But we have to keep moving on, right? He pulled your head till his eyes met yours and wiped your tears with his thumb. We will deal with this together, okay? You nodded and again nestled your face on his chest. He kissed your head, his touch gentle and soothing. You didn't know how long you both stood like this, but you knew you both needed it. As much as you wanted his comfort, he needed the same. I am sorry again, and this means I realized my mistake and I promise to not repeat it ever again. You lifted your head and smiled at him. It's okay. I shouldn't have behaved like how I behaved. I'm sorry too. No, it's okay. Your behavior was reasonable. Um, right. I have the right to throw tantrums sometimes, but on a serious note, I stick to my word, Jungkook. Alcohol is a slow poison. You would not know when it would become your addiction. I don't think I should explain more about it. I promise I'll keep it in my mind. And you calm down. We will find a way through the situation. We will make Jinsu understand that he can't have a sister. Though it clenched your and Jungkook's heart, it was the truth. Jinsu should know about it before his desire to have a sister intensify even more. Here she is, your daughter, the caretaker said, pointing at a crib. Jinsu squealed in happiness and then hopped towards the crib, while you and Jungkook followed him. You looked at the 1-month-old girl, being more active than ever. She thrashed her limbs, cooing and playing with herself. Your eyes welled up. 9 months of struggle, and it felt worth when you stared at her adorable face. Jinsu couldn't stop asking for a sister. Thus, you and Jungkook decided to go for adoption. After months of going back and forth, completing every single formality and signing every document, you finally blessed with a daughter. It almost felt like a dream, but it was reality. Unable to control yourself, you sanitized your hands and picked the little girl in your arms. Your tears fell freely as she snuggled against your warmth. It was as though you had gone through a gestation period and all the pains and struggles faded away once you hold her in your arms. She was tiny, thinner than the infants of her age. It was a sign of the fight she fought to stay alive. She was malnourished and seriously ill when someone left her in the orphanage. When everyone believed she wouldn't survive, she did. Thus, the caretakers called her a little warrior, a miracle baby. Feeling a tug at your pants, you looked down and found Jinsu looking at you with longing gaze. I want to see her. You nodded and knelt before him, letting him see his baby sister. Mama, she is so beautiful, he exclaimed, looking at her with hurt in his eyes. He was going to be an ideal brother, and you could already see the reflection of it. Suddenly, his attention drifted to the children who were peeking inside the room. During the continuous visits to the orphanage, Jinju had made plenty of friends. Mama, can I go play outside? Getting a nod of approval, he rushed outside to play with his friends. Now you and Jungkook were left alone with the baby girl. You noticed Jungkook's gaze upon the baby. You want to hold her? Jungkook hesitated, nevertheless forwarded his trembling hands to hold his daughter. He settled the baby in the crook of his elbow. She was so tiny that he held her by one arm. Jungkook's breath stuck in his throat, and the baby directly gazed into his eyes. He felt his knees weakening at the adorable sight. However, his heart slowed down when the girl smiled at him and clutched his little finger in her tiny palm. His lips trembled, but somehow he controlled his tears. Leaning down, he placed a tender kiss on her forehead. Thank you for choosing us, he whispered, bopping his nose with her tiny one. She let out a screech of joy as it moved. Your lips curved into a smile, and you wiped your tears, which weren't ready to stop anytime soon. Jinsu rushed inside the room and climbed on the stool placed behind you. He hopped on your back, slithering his arms around your neck. Your hands flew to his leg to hold him in place. Papa, shall we take Jazzy home? Jungkook nodded but frowned, looking at Jinsu. Jazzy, you already decided the name for her? Yes, she's my baby sister, John Jazzy. You and Jungkook shared a look, a hushed interaction of assurance and togetherness. Let's go. You looked at your husband, who held your daughter as if she was the most fragile being on the earth. Your son clinging to your back, playing with your hair. In that fleeting moment, you realized you were the luckiest human. A loving husband, a naughty but adorable son, and now a new addition to your family, your miracle baby. You couldn't ask for anything more. Your family was your happiness, your home.